When were you liberated and where?
I was liberated in the ghetto in, I believe it was January in Budapest. We knew it was imminent. It was just a question of surviving in one way or another, because the village walked around with vengeance, trying to kill as many as possible for any excuse, using any excuse. I know one young man kept sneaking out of the ghetto to get us some food, and he was caught, and he almost lost his life doing that, but somehow somebody paid them off with jewelry, and so they let him go. But it was a very dangerous existence, to say the least.
When you were liberated, who told you? How did you find out?
Oh, people came running into the ghetto. Because the people who were outside the ghetto came looking for their relatives. And of course, and the walls were torn down. I mean, it was blocked in. The streets were cut off. And they pushed the walls down, and we sort of ran out because there was mass, what is it called? People broke windows and stole things, and there was riots all over the street. And my poor mother couldn't leave because she was taking care of an elderly woman, and that woman was clinging to her. And so she sent me out to see if I could. And I found a coat which I wore for 10 years afterwards. But and also when there were people being killed in the ghetto, but were taken care of. But when we walked out into the streets, because there was street fighting, there were dead bodies all over. Fortunately, it was in the winter, very, very cold winter, and so everything was frozen. So otherwise, there would have been a mass infections and people dying. There's dead bodies lying all over the place. They managed to clean it up before the weather changed. Well, we subsequently went. The area that we were staying in wasn't liberated yet, and so we stayed with some people in somebody's home. And my mother, at that point we were all together, my two sisters, because we were separated during the stay in the ghetto. One of my sisters was brought in from a different area, and somehow or other she knew about us being there, and she found us, and so we were together. The other sister was not with us. Edith was not, just Blanca was with us. And then we moved to this family, and there was absolutely no food in Budapest. My mother left us with these people, and she decided to go back to where we were originally from. There were trains going back, but certainly not on schedule, and they were always terribly crowded, and she talked about that she was on top of the roof of a train traveling, and wherever it stopped, then you waited for the next train to come. But she managed to bring back on her back in a rucksack all kinds of things that we haven't seen in years. Can you imagine her bringing potatoes on her back and all kinds of, I don't remember exactly, with some flour and some salt, sugar, things that were absolutely not available, and some bread, because I remember our dinners were a cardboard potato with some with some, what is that called in English? Let me think. The fat part of a pig was dried, smoked, and then a slice of that went on the potato, and that's what we had at dinner. But while she was in traveling, I spoke a little bit Russian, and there was a young Russian soldier standing, directing traffic in the next corner, and I walked up to him and talked to him, and he was so happy to hear somebody being able to talk English. And so we became sort of quasi-friends, but the upshot was that he was able to take me. There was a bakery functioning, and there were lines of people lining up to get some bread, but he brought me into the bakery without standing on line, and I didn't have to pay for it because he was allowed just to take anything he wanted, so he gave me bread, which was a find,
Yeah.
let's put it there. At any rate, so this happened a few times, but then all of a sudden the people we were living with were not Jewish, and he decided to come and visit with a bunch of flowers, and the people that I was with, they felt responsible and they thought there would be some problem, so they hid me in another room. But he saw it happen and he got furious. He just threw the flowers on a table and left, and that was the end of my bread, getting bread. He didn't want to have anything to do with me beyond that.